The coaching videos are from Coach Haohong. Let me explain. Can anyone tell me why it's slow? Everyone observe the fila balls that Coach Han sent. It's that the arc is too high. Do you know why it's slow when it's hit? The forehand topspin. Forehand topspin serve. The problem lies with the arc. A ball with a high arc cannot be hit quickly, no matter how you serve it. Regarding this arc, take a look. You want to see how fast this ball can be served, no matter how hard you hit. So, everyone take a look at this. The contact point is too low, almost parallel to the height of the net. Only with topspin can the ball be fast and spin. Why is this speed considered fast? Why is this speed considered fast? Because its arc is low. It naturally improves. What do you mean by low? Just like everyone usually does in the gym, you stay still. You just stand there and do this. And you do it this way. You simply do it like this. Both use the same amount of force. So I think the main issue for many players with long serves not being fast or urgent is really, you are really hitting it. One is that our stance is too high. When the stance is high, to be honest, because I'm afraid it will fall down. So maybe when I toss it up, I'm here. I want to wait until it's here. This is when I'm standing too high. You will inevitably hit your chest. This is a form of self-protection. I'm not afraid of a let. I'm afraid of getting caught in the net. In fact, the root of the problem lies in the center of gravity. With the same action, my center of gravity has dropped. When I toss the ball, even at chest height, at this point, the angle of incidence to the table is also low. Look, this is a point on my chest. The same point when I stand up. I need to position it at waist level. Because after you come down, even if I hit the ball relatively early, this angle of incidence, if you stand up, you can really hit the ball here. When you strike the ball here, apply more force. The stiffer you are, the more intense the match. The higher the serve. This is a standing serve. We need to lower the center of gravity. Bring it down, especially your upper body. After you lower yourself, you need to ensure that your release point is correct. This is a high toss, a low toss. Lower your upper body's center of gravity. Your contact point must be away from the table. Once it is lower, first, press down on the arc. Serve a fast ball. First, the contact point should be close to your body. As long as your center of gravity is low. This way, you can produce a high-quality long ball. The second point, I'll explain why you often hit out. Everyone, take a look at my first jump. Look, this horizontal line is right here. The ball sent over is very fast. We're here. The arc is high and the first jump is in the mid position. You need to generate power on your first jump towards the baseline. Follow the arc of the ball to your opponent's side. You didn't control the force when you applied it. You ran in here. After landing, its arc is too high, so it will go out of bounds. Therefore, in our serves, it is essentially a mechanical movement. It is also a mechanical action. If you don't pay attention to your first jump, if you accidentally apply too much force, and if you move forward, you'll go out of bounds. If the first jump is at the center of the table, this leads to a hesitation to use strength when serving. In this position, I focus entirely on my first jump. I can definitely send the ball up, essentially without looking at your opponent. Be a bit more precise. At this point, you can't step too far forward. It should be right here. Everyone, take a look at my first jump. Is the position of the first jump close to the baseline? Straight line. Diagonal line. Side up. Side down. This type of ball will definitely go out of bounds, unless the first jump isn't executed properly. No braking. It should be a stop with the big arm under the chin. Look, pay close attention to me. Watch teacher show hands movements without pushing forward. The upper arm must apply force throughout. He didn't execute the final break properly. First, we are not aware of the necessity to break. You must first have awareness. This is the key point. When we make contact with the ball, you must control your upper arm well. It won't generate much spin. Can you see my wrist and fingers? Whipping like a whip during the motion. Can it produce stronger spin? You point like this and indicate which way to turn, which should be gentle, like a whip. This kind of spin will create more rotation. Our stopping order is sequential. It's not just about the backswing or the ball release. The serve is inside. The upper arm stops first, then the forearm swings, driving the fingers and wrist. But the fast motion is not noticeable to everyone. They do not move together, and they do not stop together, which allows for the swinging space of the forearm. Once the forearm swinging space comes to a stop,
read more about table tennis on my blog, PingSunday.com. Get free ebook and coaching advices. See you in the next video.